Shalom, shalom, Yasharala. This your boy, Brother Samuel, back at you with another quick edifying video. Right, today's lesson is going to be called The Eyes of Rawchaa. Right, first and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory. I want to say Halal, Yahawah, Bahasham, Hamashiach, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Qadash. Right, that's all praises to the Heavenly Father, whose name is Yahawah, and his only begotten Son's name, who you ignorantly call Jesus, whose name is Yahawashi, the Hamashiach. Right, and the Holy Spirit, which is the Qadash. Right, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone from Tahar on down, who have ruled well through the Spirit and have fed and edified the sheep in these last days, and has pushed this gospel and this truth to the four corners of the earth. Right. So, like I said, today's lesson is going to be called "The Eyes of Yahawashi." Right, and I was checking out this article that I ran across. I believe it was today, May 6th, 2023, right? And it says aliens could be listening. This is from Mirror.com news, right? And it says aliens could be listening in on Earth with predicted first human contact made by 2029, right? And we know that this is all folly and lies right here, man, right? You know, you got these little green men, that they're portraying, all this stuff, right? We're going to get the scriptures, right? But I'm just going to read a little bit of it, then I'm going to go over some scriptures. Hopefully this will be edifying, right? So it says aliens listening in on spacecraft signals will be able to send response thanks to radio wave transmissions sent to the interstellar NASA probes, according to hopeful scientists. It says aliens could soon be listening in on Earth with the first human contact set to be made by the end of 2029. Extraterrestrial listening in on our spacecraft signals will be able to send response thanks to radio wave transmission sent to interstellar NASA probes, right? So, it's just talking about just a bunch of folly, right? They sent some radio waves out in space, right? Expecting to get a response, right, from so-called alien life, right? And we know, when we see these UFOs, right, these unidentified flying objects, or I believe now they call it UAPs, right? We know what those are. Right? And it's not some little green men, right? It's not some little green men with some big black eyes like this picture right here portrays, man, right? That's not what's going on, right? So we're going to get a couple scriptures, right? And we're going to, through the Spirit, and we're going to close it out, right? So first and foremost, right, we know that these are this so-called alien life, right, are the angels of Yahawashi, right? And they're not green men, Let's get this. Let's get this real quick. Let's go to Salaki, the book of Ezekiel, right? Because Ezekiel was, he had a good description of kind of what the angels look like, Let's see. Here we go. This is Ezekiel. Let's see. Let's start at verse number 4, right? So it says, and I looked and beheld a whirlwind came out of the north, a great cloud, right? And when the scriptures are talking about clouds, they're actually talking about these so-called UFOs or spacecrafts, right? When it's talking about the whirlwind, right? Yahawashi and Isaiah, 66 and 15, he's coming with a whirlwind and fire and his chariots, right? It's talking about the so-called UFO or spacecraft, that Yahawashi is coming in, right? This is what are likening to the clouds and these different things, right? It says a great cloud, right? A big, huge cloud. And when you go into Second Esdras, right, Esdras he basically explains the chariot that Yahawashi comes in is like, it looks like a mountain, right, where there's no end, right? So the chariots of the Lord, right, or the so-called UFOs, hey, they're likened unto mountains, unto fires, right? Wheel inside of a wheel, clouds. All there's different um, names for these same things, right? And it says, and a fire enfolding in itself, right? And a brightness was about it, and out of the mist thereof, as the color of amber, out of the midst of the fire, right? And I know brothers, I remember, brothers was, I think we were celebrating, I believe it was like a new moon or something. We looked up in the sky and you could see, it looked like a flaming fire, man, right? And it was like, it streaked across the sky and it kind of disappeared. You know what I'm saying? And we saw that, you know what I mean? And it says, it wasn't a comet or anything like that. You can kind of tell the difference, you know? It says also, out of the midst thereof came the likeness of four living creatures. And this was their appearance, that they had the likeness of a man, right? So it's kind of describing the angels, right? The so-called angels. It says, and every one had four faces, and every one had four wings, and their feet were straight feet, and the sole of their feet was like the sole of a calf's foot, and they sparkled like the color of burnished brass, right? So the same color that is used to describe Yahawashi, right? These angels, these creatures, right, which are the angels, have that same color. They have that same color, that dark skin, melanin color, man, right? It's not no green, pale green, big head alien with some big eyes, man, right? So, and guess what? These people, they know what's going on, right? They know what's going on, right? But they want to put that propaganda out there to, kind of deceive the people, right? And we know that, right? And we're not ignorant, right, to Satan's devices, right? And let me see. I'm gonna keep going. But it says, and they sparkled like the color of burnished brass, right? Like I said, and that's the same. Let's get that real quick. Let's go to Revelation 1 and let's see, 13, right? And it says, in the midst of the seven candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man, clothed with the garment down to the foot, and girt about the paps with a golden girdle. And his head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow. And his eyes were as a flame of fire, and his feet like unto fine brass, as if they burn in a furnace. Right? And this is talking about Yahawashi. Right? Yahawashi was a dark, melanated man. Right? And that's the same description that is given, unto the angels. Right? So there is, we're not talking about no green, alien life, man. Right? So, and there's a lot of videos that's going on where you see these so-called UFOs, right? And we know those to be the chariots of Yahawashi, right? So, let's get a couple. Now we can get into it. Salakia. Let's go to the book of Amos. Book of Amos, chapter 9. And verse number 8, and it says, behold, the eyes of Yahawashi, that power, are upon the sinful kingdom, and I will destroy it from off the face of the earth, saving that I will not utterly destroy the house of Jacob, saith Yahawah, Bahasham Yahawashi, right? So the eyes, right, those eyes of the Lord, right, are those chariots and the angels, right, who are basically documenting everything that's being done here, right? Sometimes we see them and sometimes we don't, right? They can, if you understand these things, they can camouflage, they can appear, disappear, right? they can morph into different things. You know, there's so many different things, right? And there's so much documentation on it, even from early ages, right? You see all these like pictures and descriptions of these alien crafts, right? Or so-called alien crafts, which we know are the chariots of the Lord, which are the eyes of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi, right? Let's go to the book of Job, right? Let's go to the book of Job, chapter 34, and verse number 21. It says, "For the eyes are upon the ways of man, and he seeth all his goings. And there is no darkness nor shadow of death where the workers of iniquity may hide themselves," right? So you can't hide from the eyes of the Lord, right? The eyes of the Lord are upon this sinful kingdom, right? And upon all the earth, right? And it's pondering and searching out man's ways, right? And so that's why you see all around the world, you see these UFOs appearing, right? You see them pop out of the ocean, right? There was a video I just saw, an article, right, where this family was at a beach they took a picture, and then in the picture you could see a so-called UFO in the midst of the picture. You know what I'm saying? There's so many videos now that are popping out. There's so many things that are going on, right? And those are the eyes of Yahawah Shimon Shai, right? And they're constantly on watch, right? And let me get this, right? This is Jeremiah 10. I'm going to start at verse 1. It says, "Hear ye the word which Yahawah spoke unto you, O house of Israel. Thus saith Yahawah, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven." Right? So don't be, when you see these things, right? Just understand what they are, right? Don't be dismayed, right? Because they're gonna push the narrative that some green aliens they're gonna come and they're gonna attack, right? You saw that article talking about the expected contact was gonna be 2029. No, they've been amongst us this whole time, right? Our people have been speaking about them, right? Since the beginning, right? You think about when we got off the slave ships, right? We were singing, the song "Sweet Low Sweet Chariot," right? Come and taking me home, right? It's talking about those chariots. What's the chariots, man? The chariots are those UFOs, right? Or the chariots of the Lord, Salaki. All right, let's get back to this. Let's go to the book of Proverbs, right? Chapter 15 and verse 3. And it seems like every other day you see a article or something, a news, right, about a so-called UFO, right? And now they're being more prominent and prominent. There's all these things that are videos that are capturing them, pictures, all these things, right? Brothers go out and teach. We look up in the sky, you can see them up in the sky moving around, right? But this is Proverbs 15 and 3. It says, "The eyes of Yahawah are in every place, beholding the evil and the good," right? They're everywhere, right? Like I said, it was I just saw an article where this family was taking a picture at a beach, and there you see, right, the chariot of the Lord chilling right there, right? And it says, "Beholding the evil and the good," right? They're keeping tabs on everything that's going on, right, in this world, right? You could say they're doing recon, right? They're getting intel and seeing what's going on, right? I've heard stories, how the UFOs, right, will pop up near nuclear sites, activate the arm, and arm the nukes, and then cut them off, right? Or when people are trying to test, they cut them off and make them not work. There's so many different things, right, that we know that's going on, right? So let's get this. Second Chronicle, chapter 16 and verse 9. Salakia. Second Chronicles chapter 16 and verse 9, it says, "For the eyes of Yahawah run to and fro throughout the whole earth to show himself strong in the behalf of them whose heart is perfect toward him. Herein thou hast done foolishly, therefore from henceforth thou shalt have wars." Right? So the eyes of the Lord, right? These so-called UFOs, hey, they're everywhere, right? And they're running to and fro, right? The whole earth, they're everywhere, right? You can just type on YouTube and you'll see, different chariots, the Lord just being there everywhere, right? Like I said, you see them pop out of the ocean, you see them, come out the sky, you see them, appear, disappear, right, in clouds where it's lightning and thundering, where all of a sudden, you'll see them. They're everywhere. They're everywhere. They're in the hood, right? They're in the suburb. They're everywhere, right? And they're going to and fro over the whole earth, and they're documenting the things that are happening on this earth. Let's get this. Let's go back to Proverbs chapter 5, and let's get verse number 21. And it reads, it says, "For the ways of man are before the eyes of Yahawah, and he pondereth all his goings." Right? So the ways of men, everything that you're doing, right, are before the eyes of the Lord. So they're all being documented, everything that you're doing, right? Even me right now doing this lesson through the Spirit, right, is being documented, right? And it says, "And he pondereth all his goings," right? So it's like it's that 24-hour surveillance. It's always, being monitored. These, the eyes of the Lord are continuously on this place, man. Let's get the book of Sirach, right? Sirach 23 and verse number 19, right? It says, "Such a man only feareth the eyes of men," right? So you got a lot of these men, who think they're getting away with a lot of things. They're getting away with different types of secret, iniquities and different things, right? But they don't understand that the eyes of Yahawashi are upon them at all times, right? Even when we fall and we fall short, man, right? The eyes of the Lord are upon us, right, and upon all the earth. They, like I said, they run to and fro, right? So it says, Ecclesiastes 23 and 19. It says, "Such a man only feareth the eyes of men, and knoweth not that the eyes of Yahawah are 10 times brighter than the sun, beholding all the ways of men and considering the most secret parts." Right? So if it's 10,000 times brighter than the sun, right, which lights up the whole earth 10 times brighter than that, right? That means you're seeing everything. They're seeing everything that you're doing, right? They're seeing the different things that you're doing, right? That you think that you're doing in secret. All these things are being revealed, right? Through the eyes of the Lord, right? So they talking about these green aliens and the contact, and no, that's not in the scriptures, man, right? What's in these scriptures, right, are the angels, right, and these chariots, right, which are the so-called UFOs, right, which are the eyes of the Lord. Let's get this. Let's go to Ecclesiastes, Salakia 10 and verse number 20. It says, "Curse not the king, not in thy thought, and curse not the rich in thy bedchamber. For a bird of the air shall carry the voice, and that which hath wings shall tell the matter." Right? So like a bird, right, flies, right, so do these UFOs. they fly as well, right? They fly like birds, right? And what do they do? So it says, curse not the king, no, not in thy thought, right? And curse not the rich in thy bedchamber. Why? Because the eyes of Yahawashi are upon you at all times, right? It says they're 10 times brighter than the sun, right? So they see all these things. So when you know, in your bedroom or your bedchamber, right, or you're in a closet, right, and you're cursing out, right? Hey, guess what? It's being recorded. It's being seen by the eyes of the Lord. And it says, and like a bird, right? It carries the voice, right? It carries, that message of what you said back to Yahawah Shem Shai. You know? So, and just like a bird does, right? So do these so-called UFOs or the chariots of the Lord, right? Which are the eyes of Yahawah Shem Shai. Right? Let's get another one, right? Let's go to the book of Psalm, right? Psalm 68 and verse number 17. And it says, the chariots of the Most High are 20,000, even thousands of angels. And Yahawah, Bahasham Yahshai, is among them, as in Sinai in the holy place. Right? So the chariots of Yahawah Bahasham Yahshai are thousands, are 20,000s, even thousands. Right? It's a whole lot of them. Right? There's a whole lot of them. They all have, their different positions, their different jobs, right? But they're beholding, the ways of man. They're beholding the ways of man, and they're recording, right, the things that are being done on this earth, man, right, for the time of judgment. They're all these things are being recorded. So when you think that it's not, hey, you're being watched, man. And this says, right, the chariots of the Most High are 20,000, even thousands of angels, right? And you had Reagan, who had a speech, who was talking about, that there's a threat, and because they know what's going on, right? They know that Yahawashi is coming with his angels, right, and these chariots or these so-called UFOs, right? And that's the biggest threat, right? And the thing is, us waking up and understanding that, right, is causing them to panic, and all these things are happening, man, right? It says the curse is upon them, right? We know that curse, is talking about these so-called UFOs, these chariots of the Lord, right? Let me get one more. Close it out, right? This is Luke chapter 21, and we're gonna go to verse number 27, right? And it says, and then shall they see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory, right? And that cloud is talking about the chariots, right? Talking about the chariots of the Lord, right? And Yahawashi, like I said, he's coming back, in a huge, massive chariot, we call it what the fathership, he's coming back with a huge thing, right? When you just got to read Second Ezra, right? He talks about how Yahawashi is coming back, and that thing is going to have lasers and all types of things on it, man, right? And it says, and when these things begin to pass, then look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh, right? And a lot of times our people, have been so beat up and depressed, and we always like looking down. We're not actually looking up. If you actually look up, you might catch the eyes of the Lord. You might catch a chariot in the sky. You might catch a chariot, where you're thinking if you look hard enough, you'll see it, man. Sometimes they look like stars, and all of a sudden you just see the stars just moving, right? And they'll just be moving across, and you can tell the difference between them and a plane, because you'll see the light kind of blinking, and you'll see they look just like stars, and they're moving around, right? But like I said, they come in so many different forms and so many different fashions, right? And right now they're being prominent around the earth, man. They're being seen, they're being recorded, right? There's all these different things, man, right? So this little green alien, right? That's not what it is, man. Right? Don't be deceived, right? Don't be deceived about what's going on, right? Those are the angels, right? in the chariots of Yahawashi, right? Those are the army of the Most High, man, right? So with that, I hope this lesson has been edifying, right? I want to give all praises, honor, and glory. I want to say Halal, Yahawah, Bahasham, Mashiach, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Rawchaa, Qadash. Peace and blessings to the 12 tribes scattered abroad. A mighty shalom to the hopeful elect. Stay strong, stay faithful, keep praying for one another, man. Stay diligent and look up. And look up, for your salvation is near when you believe. You know, it draweth near. And with that, shalom.